Hello, fantasy book lovers, TGIF. This is Thank Gods It's Fantasy Podcast. We are Kayla, Veronica, and Bryanna, three best friends who love talking about all things books. From the romance to the conflict, and of course, the morally gray men. Every 2 weeks, we'll be getting together to talk about theories, opinions, and reviews of our current read. Please read along, join in, and be one of our book besties too. Hi, everybody, and welcome to our show. Thanks for joining us. Today, in this episode, we are going to be discussing Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross, which is the first book in the Letters of Enchantment Duology. Before we get going, we just want to make a little disclaimer that many of the things that we'll discuss might be more suitable for mature audiences. We're all adults here, so if explicit language or content is not for you, then turn back now. All right, so we decided to do an entire book this time and not cut it in half, which felt very appropriate for the fact that the book was like, 300 and something pages?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was definitely a different type of magical book than I feel like we have had so far. It was a kind of Gatsby.
It was
era
not
of, the
enough.
vibes that I was getting.
Yeah, no, I definitely, when I, the first few pages, I got, I told you, Kayla, that I was like, I feel like this is like a 1920s, that's just the vibe that I get from it. But I was not expecting it. I never read the back of this book, and I didn't read any previews for what it was. This was not the romantasy that I have been used to reading. It really brought it back to more, not modern, but more real life historical things instead of fantastical ideas. And so I was just like, okay, hold on, I gotta change my mindset about this. I can't just disqualify it or brush it aside and say that I hate it, because I was not prepared for this kind of book. My mind was not there, my heart was not there, especially after reading When the Moon Hatched. I was like, hold on, this can be good. I know this can be good, but I was not ready for it.
Well, see, I had seen at least some disclaimers, so I felt like I was a little more prepared. I also read the back right before I started it, because I was like, okay, I've heard great things, but what exactly should I, because I almost need to be in the mindset for it, so I'm not expecting something else and then let down. And so I had read the back, so when I went into it, I was a little more prepared. But I had also seen where people were like, if you romantic or romance, then this is more your jam, and it has elements of fantasy instead of it being a fantasy book with elements of romance. And so I went into it going, okay, I know it has fantasy, but it's more of a background thing rather than it being forefront of the book. So I felt like I was a little more prepared for that personally, but it still was definitely a bit of a shift from When the Moon Hatched. Coming from that was a little bit of a challenge.
I was more with V on this one. I had a hard time shifting my perspective and my mindset, really. It's a mindset thing. I really go into most of my books now expecting it to be pretty much full fantasy, because that is my preference in general. So shifting it to being just little sprinkles of fantasy throughout it, or magic throughout it, was definitely a shift. But I almost struggled with that more. I feel like I do okay when it's fully one way or fully the other, but having it be
about humans,
like you said, modern, but not modern, but less magical, I guess. But then throwing in gods, and that they used to rule, but they're gone, but they're kind of back, but they're not the main aspect of the story. They're not the main characters.
Yeah.
And then going into the magical buildings that they have, and they're on these ley lines, but yet you're not seeing overt uses of magic. Was definitely different. I mean, it's a super interesting take on doing a fantasy. I feel like whenever I'm reading things like that, I get in my mind, I get ahead of myself. So I'm like, okay, so she's gonna end up being a goddess, or she's gonna meet the god, and that's how they're gonna incorporate it. Whenever someone's the normal one, they always get swept up into the magic. So I was totally in my head, like waiting for the kind of that to happen. But it was,
Absolutely.
I mean, who knows? Who knows what'll happen in the next one? But
I don't.
I was gonna
I
say,
will
I
not read it.
really think I think more fantasy will be involved in the next one, just since
mhm,
Because of how
how
it
it ended.
ended.
And we'll get there.
mhm.
But I do think that'll be a little more involved in the next one. I still don't know that it'll be like what we're used to, but I do think it'll be more than this one.
I think you're right too. I think the gods are going to be a lot more involved in the next one. I mean, I
I
talked to
agree.
Bree about this. I mean, not to be like jumping ahead or anything, but the way that this was set up and the whole way this kind of novel felt, for me at least, it felt really like a builder book, kind of like they're laying the foundation for this greater world and this greater war that's going to be happening. So I'm kind of having a hard time, I don't know how to say coping, but like wrapping my head around the fact that it's only a duology,
Yeah.
because there's so many ways that this can go, and they could make it really, really big. She could make this go on forever if she wanted to, with the way she like laid the foundation for it. So I'm having a hard time with the fact that it's going to wrap up in the next book. Like there's so much
Well,
that feels like need to happen.
and that next book is a similar size to this one. So like not
Mm-hmm.
only is it, I mean, she wraps it up quickly for what we're used to, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, we're used to Fantasy Dragon sometimes 9 books deep, you know? So
Yeah.
I'm just like, 2? That's all? You don't want to go
Mm-hmm.
more in depth? We could go further, I'm sure.
Maybe
Like,
Yeah.
we
it
get
was
more into this.
maybe it was like supposed to be a standalone, and they were like, "Oh, maybe we can make it into 2." Because you know how some
Yeah.
standalones like take forever to
Yeah.
world build and like build up to that part, and then that's when all the things start to happen, and then
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. So I mean,
Yeah.
at least
That's
we'll have
true.
some closure soon. Maybe.
I mean,
No, I do
I was excited
appreciate
about the fact that it was a duology, because I was like, I can't
yeah,
commit to another 9
another
books or
unfinished.
16
Mhm.
books if we're really going there. So I was excited about it being a duology. I just, like I said, I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that it's going to be
Done.
done in another 300 pages. But hey, I'm excited to see what she does with it for
Mhm.
sure.
Absolutely. I
Same.
didn't see what Goodreads rated Divine Rivals or
Ruthless Vows.
Ruthless Vows.
Yeah.
I didn't see what they were rated on theirs, and I don't know like how many, like if the first one was supposed to be better than the second one, because you know some people
That's a good
like
question.
that. So I'm curious
Let
to
me look.
see.
Um, I mean, this is one of the most recommended fantasy duologies I feel like out there. I have seen it so much.
Yeah. I mean, we even asked people that follow us what they wanted us to
Yeah, and that
read,
was,
and
like,
this was
across the
it.
board the most recommended.
Yeah.
Divine Rivals was 4.24, and that's with 350,000 ratings,
Wow.
Yeah.
which is kind of insane when you really think about that.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's see, Ruthless Vows was 4.2 with 140,000. So,
Yeah.
I
Wow.
mean, that's pretty good for Goodreads,
Yeah.
I think.
Okay. All right.
I mean, I think it comes down to this, like exactly what you said. This is a good in between for the people that don't like a full fantasy, but they
Yeah.
like a romance.
Yes.
This is like a good kind of dipping your toes
Dabbler.
in, not going
Mhm.
It
full
really
send
is
with.
just getting your toes wet. Like it's not like
It
a
is.
Yes.
it's just like let me just
It's getting
sprinkle
your
it. Like
toes wet, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well,
sorry.
and like it was a good like if you looked at it purely from a romance point of view, I thought that
Mhm.
was well done. So if you
Yeah.
I
took
do
out the
too.
fact it had the fantasy, I felt like the build up for their relationship was really well done. So I see where people enjoy that aspect of it for sure.
Mhm.
Um, so obviously we get introduced to Forrest, her brother. We get introduced to Iris, our main female character. Forrest gets recruited by Enva, the goddess, the skyward goddess, to go to war against Decker. Dacre? What are we gonna call him?
I said Dacker, like no, Daker,
I
like
said Dacre
acre,
too.
and then like because acre, and then I
Oh,
put a
Dacre.
D, so Daker is how I said it.
Dacre.
Hmm.
I
okay.
like that. Dacre.
Sure.
I'm telling the story B because I found it hilarious. We get introduced to Iris's rival inside the Oath Gazette at the newspaper. You know, they've got a lot of banter. They are competing for the same
Stories,
position.
headlines, yep.
So I laughed because, you know, we're only a few chapters in when we get into the nitty-gritty of the fact that she's using an enchanted typewriter. She doesn't know it at this point, but that her typewriter is allowing her to send these letters off. She thinks they're disappearing and maybe going to Forrest, her brother, out at war because she hasn't heard from him, but really it's going to a man that has been receiving all of her letters to Forrest. And he finally writes back and says, "This isn't Forrest." Me being the, like, I know, I don't even know how to say it. We're at work and V goes, "Oh,
did you get to that chapter yet?"
Did you get to that chapter? Are you shocked? And I was like, oh my God, what did I miss? Like, no, you must be ahead of me. And she was like, I'm on chapter 5. And I was like, oh, I'm on chapter 7. Huh. I was like, wait, you mean the fact that Roman is the one receiving the letters? And she was like, yes, I had no idea. I couldn't believe it. I was like, what? So we're gonna have to do a poll of everyone who has read this. Like, did you know that it was Roman in those first 5 chapters? Or were you shocked like me? Because I thought that was hilarious.
I was so like, oh my God!
You couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that you couldn't believe it.
Yeah, Kayla told me about this whole interaction later because obviously I read it a little after you guys. And she was like, were you surprised by this reveal? And I was like, no, what are you talking? Like, what reveal?
Because you read the back of the book.
No, I didn't read the back of the book.
But you.
But
because Brie read the back of the book.
No, but that did not, like, I didn't feel like, maybe it was a giveaway,
so
but I didn't.
I know, I'm hot.
I didn't input that into while I was reading it because really, like, I read it just to get a rough idea of what it was, but I wasn't like taking that as I was reading. But as soon as she had witty banter, argumentative banter with him, I said, of course this is the main man. Of course this is going to be who's getting the letters. Like, if not, who the F would it be?
Like, I thought it was Dacre. I thought it was Dacre. I thought maybe it was the god, and that's how we were going to introduce the whole fantasy part in it. No.
Hey, that did cross my mind too at one point. That did cross my mind. But as soon as she met him in the office and they were like bantering, but also he's like very good looking and I can't look away from him and I keep staring at him. But I hate him. I was like, oh, he's the one.
Yes.
Enemies to lovers.
No,
honestly,
100%.
Anytime someone dickish comes into any book at this point, I'm like,
main character.
That's the one. That's probably the one. And then it's like a back and forth trying to figure out which way we're going to go. Is he going to be the one or is he going to actually be the villain?
You know I'm all about the villain. Okay, you know I am.
Yes.
Dacre is the villain. He is like up here.
You're like the penultimate villain here, guys. Like, why are you not giving him more credit?
When it comes to
V's like,
no, you do.
God or nothing. I want a God or nothing.
Because I was not expecting it to be like this. But no.
Well, and I mean, that still would have worked for Divine Rivals. It could have really been either one of them. Honestly. But I still could not get over how shook you were that it was Roman.
I was like,
and the best part is we're like in the lunchroom in front of like, I don't know, 12 other people. And I'm just like
having this revelation.
Like, I'm like, and we're kind of looking at each other like, what?
I'm
like she can't believe that I knew and I can't believe that she didn't, and we're just like, huh?
Oh everyone's man, I wish I'd been there. Yeah.
It was so good.
Surface level reader right here.
No, but that's why it's so great.
You're a vibe reader and I like it.
It's
I'm
fine.
Here for a vibe reader. Okay, so yes, there's our main man. They're competing, whatever. I was so sad about her mom. Like when she went home and there's like bottles everywhere, and the fact that it was a new addiction. Like only started once Forrest left, started drinking. Such a drastic shift, and like the effect of him leaving, how devastated they obviously both were.
Yes.
Because she's not okay. Iris is not okay either. But that part was so sad for me. And how much they're struggling just in general.
Yeah, and then it was really sad to then find out, like, she had to break her promise to Forrest to finish school because she needed to make money
Mhm.
because obviously her mom really wasn't at that point, and what money they were getting, she was spending on booze.
Or she was
So
selling
I
everything.
Or
Correct, or she
pawning
was
everything, yeah.
yeah, so, yeah, that whole thing was very sad to see, like, that side of things and how far she was going to try and hide that at work, like, when her poor heel broke, and then she had to wear her wasn't it her mom's boots or whatever that
And they're
were
too
just like
small.
Too small.
yeah, and Rome's like, "Why are you walking funny?" And I'm just like, "Don't be
Yeah.
a dick."
I
Mhm.
hate when my toes rub on the top of my shoes. I could not
Oh my
imagine wearing a
god.
shoe.
That's too small?
Yeah. And,
Ugh.
like, you just keep wearing it. You're so just, like, add just oh, no.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I
Mm-mm.
know, it was
Well, and
very
the fact
sad.
that, like, everyone was judging her for dropping out of school and, like, him
Yeah.
being a
Was it
little
everyone
uppity.
or was it just
Roman's a
him?
little
Yeah, Roman was
it
a
was
little judgy.
mostly it
It
was
was
mostly
mostly
him that, like,
him.
brought it up, but it was, like, well known in the
Yes.
office that she had dropped out of school in her last semester or whatever, but
Yeah, but she was an awesome writer,
yeah.
and that's why she got a job there.
Exactly. I'm like, yeah, she dropped out of school and then got hired at the best newspaper in the city?
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know that whole thing, I was like, "Guys, why are we not giving her more credit?" Like, clearly
Yeah.
she's been doing great.
Yeah.
But she's only writing the
Ugh.
obits, you guys.
Ugh,
I
that
know.
So
was
she's
very
too late.
depressing
She's not getting
also.
there in time to get, like, the good stuff. So she has to write
Not
those
her
ones.
fault, though.
I know, it's her mom. I
No,
mean,
could you imagine
really
waking up and your mom, like, vomiting all over herself and having to pick up glass every single morning? Can you imagine?
I know, and her
No.
mom's like, "Leave it. Leave
Well,
it."
and then, like, just having to always worry, like, when she was gone, is she coming back? Ugh, that whole thing was just very sad. I can't I mean,
Well, and
I guess we were
we got
all
a
blessed
glimpse.
with, moms that didn't at least do that nonsense, so
Yeah, but we
I
got,
just
like, a
couldn't wrap my
glimpse
head
of
around
what
that.
she was like, when she has that
Mhm.
kind of one night
Yes.
of clarity where she's
So sad.
sweet and endearing and brushes her hair and is just, like, uplifting Iris the whole time. It's like, "Okay, this is the mom that she
Yes.
is and has always been. It's just, like, the last 7 months that she hasn't been." So that broke my heart too, because I don't picture her, in movies and whatnot, like, you've got the drunk moms and whatnot that are I didn't even picture her that way. I pictured her as, like, a kind of like a put together woman that has
Mhm.
just now
Mhm.
like your typical mom, like
She's
a
dealing with her
in the
with
20s.
her feelings, right? She's sad because her son could possibly die.
Mhm.
There
Yeah.
obviously is a war that's happening, and it's not like it's been going on
Yeah.
for a while. Um, so it's just like coping is hard for her, and this is her way to
Mhm.
it's yeah, it was really sad, and I couldn't imagine either way, I couldn't imagine having my child go to war and then being fearful
Mhm.
every day that you're gonna get that message, and then just trying to
Mhm.
Mhm.
drown your worries with alcohol, trying to forget, like, any of that stuff, trying to,
Mhm.
like, numb the pain that
Mhm.
you feel, like, that your son's not there or that they might not be there anymore, and then yeah,
Mhm.
that's a lot for sure.
Yeah, and then to be acting like nothing happened, go to work, be dealing with someone that is putting you down every single
Mhm.
day. I couldn't really like put my thumb on the boss of what he really wanted. He felt like he was giving her a lot of chances and like he it kind of felt like he wanted her to win, but then I was like,
Yes.
well, what are your motivations for wanting her to win? Because skeptical of all males like that. I feel like you just never know. But
Yep.
yeah, I couldn't read him. What did you guys feel like he was one way or the other or
No, I had a hard time picking up what his intentions were as well. I
Mhm.
don't feel like he was a clear-cut character in that way. It did seem like he
Mhm.
was giving her a lot of chances.
Mhm.
And I know they had kind of pinpointed it to, he chose to hire her because of this article or whatever that she had
Mhm.
written previously. So I don't know if he really just had really high hopes for her based off of that. And then she just couldn't quite prove herself because of everything going on at home, and
Mhm.
so he like obviously he then inevitably picks Roman for the role. But I don't know if he was just really hoping she would live up to that potential and that's why, or if there
Mhm.
was a more secret motive we were just unaware of.
Yeah.
Because I really think based off that article, he thought she had potential to be better than Roman. And that's really
Yeah.
why he was giving her so many chances. But yeah, you don't really get a clear vision as to what his intentions are. So I get why he was a harder read, because we
Yeah.
just didn't go into him at all, really.
Yeah.
I
I
got
mean, I think Roman even thought that she was a better writer than him because he was threatened by her and
Mhm.
Oh,
loved her
yeah.
writing.
for sure.
Yes.
I imagined him kind of like Perry White in Superman, like the editor-in-chief in there, and he was just like
Mm.
very like, I'm trying to get the best stuff and I don't want this nonsense stuff. And he just wanted like
I got my
the
cigarette
facts.
and
Yeah, like that's just how I had him in my brain.
How
Like
you,
just very
how you,
like, no nonsense.
totally.
I'm trying to get only the best people here. And I know that you're really good because I saw your stuff and you
yeah.
haven't been writing
Mhm.
like that in a long time, but I know you have it in
Mhm.
you. Show it to me because I'm going to give this to somebody
Mhm.
else if you can't. That's how I saw it. I didn't feel like
Yeah.
there was like a weird,
Yeah.
ulterior motive or anything
Yeah.
like
I
that.
think that I agree. I feel like he just knew that she was good and really
Mhm.
could win that position
Yeah.
easily. I also thought it was interesting that with Roman's background of being new money, very wealthy, that his dad saw that as such a prestigious career, being a
Mhm.
columnist. Because, I don't know, I feel like you would go into the family business or something. Don't
I
like,
think based off the time, though, the paper was really the main media outlet of this
yeah,
world. And so to
that's true.
control the narrative
True.
is
Mhm.
something his dad was very big on, I thought. And so
That's
I
true.
think that's why he kind of pushed him into that role, because I mean, his dad's big on control. Shocker,
Hmm.
yet another controlling dad we got. Um, and so I didn't feel like that one was as surprising to me once you got a glimpse at the world and what was kind of going on. And
Yeah.
clearly, different newspapers were trying to sell different stories, and there were certain things
Hmm.
some wanted to talk about and some didn't. So I was like, oh, the media's big.
Oh,
And
yeah.
obviously, media, and this was the
Hmm.
newspaper. So I don't know. I thought that was kind of fun.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
how that ended up evolving too as the story progresses.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and then like they talk about the chancellor is restricting him, even though he didn't really want to admit
Uh-huh.
to that.
Yes.
But they're obviously putting a lot of very interesting restrictions in general because music is restricted because of Enva,
Mhm.
and instruments are restricted because of her. Like she's,
Let's face it, government and all the politics and all the stuff, they have control over too many things. We're like, remember when we couldn't sing because of COVID? Because, we could spread COVID by singing.
Mhm.
So they stopped singing at churches. Like no one was allowed to sing at churches for a while. And so,
Yeah.
I mean, yes, that some people, yes, you can. COVID was real, okay? COVID was real. People were getting sick,
coming
whether it
from
was
3
COVID or
nurses,
not.
yes.
Coming from 3 nurses, it's a virus that was out there and was easily spread. We didn't have control of it and whatever. I'm just saying that once you have something that people can be afraid of, people take that little kernel and they know how to feed it and grow it to
Mhm.
make it something bigger. And then
Mhm.
they know how to control what society sees and they try to mold it into what they should feel. And
Yeah.
they really,
Mhm.
it's dirty work.
Yes.
It's
I was
dirty
gonna
work.
say, we
Mhm.
see it today also. So that's why
Mhm.
I appreciated seeing it on like a smaller scale, like strict newspaper, because now, I mean, frick, media's everywhere in your hands, on the
Yeah.
everywhere in your face all the time. So it was kind of refreshing to just see it as a newspaper via versus newspaper as a little more small scale, but still the same. Like,
Mhm.
there was a lot more control going on behind the scenes. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
it was
Yeah.
nice to see it laid out that way.
I feel like I forgot about the fact that that is the case. Newspaper back then was how you were getting, that was their media.
Yes.
That was how you're, I
Mhm.
mean, that in the radio, but the radio is getting that information from the newspapers usually,
Yeah.
Yep. And then depending
which is also
whatever.
why it was seen,
Mhm.
yeah, it was seen as such a big deal to be reading the other newspaper.
Uh-huh.
Whereas
Yes.
for us, like we are consumers, we're consuming things constantly. So yeah, we would read every newspaper there is and it wouldn't even be,
Yeah.
give us more information. But back then it was seen as
Mhm.
kind of choosing your sides when you chose who you were getting your information from. So
Yes.
Yep.
it would be interesting to know what time this actually was.
It said
Yeah, like, what
1892
kinda
was when,
Yeah, that's right.
Forrest was born, and if Forrest was
Mm,
a couple years older than
Yeah, so
Iris, then that would make it, like, 1810-ish? I'm sorry, 1910.
1910,
I was
yeah.
gonna say that's really a long time ago.
Or
So
sorry,
early
1910.
1900s is
Yeah,
kind of the vibe, which I feel
Yeah.
like is what we were getting.
yeah.
Yeah, with the trolleys and
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah, I totally had this book movie in sepia mode for me. There was no color.
I
It
love
was
that.
you had your own
I
black
mean
and white
yeah.
movie. I love it.
I mean, I wasn't doing that, but I definitely had a, 1910s, 1920s feel for sure in
Mhm.
my little movie.
Yeah, like everything she was wearing, everything that everyone else was
Mhm.
wearing, how the soldiers looked. It was
Mhm.
Yes.
all
Yeah, 100%.
so getting into like the gods and goddesses. So
Mhm.
obviously the main ones are Dacre and Emba. Dacre.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
yeah, we're calling him. So he's the underling god, the god of vitality and healing, and then Emba was the
Mhm.
skyward goddess, who was the most beloved of the skywards. I got a very I mean not actual Romeo and Juliet, but like the family the family aspect of like
Yes.
here's the two god families, the underworld and like essentially up in
Mhm.
heaven and that are, at each other constantly. But then they have the other three gods, Mer,
Mhm.
Alva, and Luz, that are all
Mhm.
buried in the other boroughs.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I wonder, do you think that they will come into play in the next book? Or do you think they're just gone and it's just gonna stay Enva and Dacre?
I think they're gone. I think this is mainly focused on
Yeah.
them, and I got the more, Hades and Aphrodite vibe as far as, like, he was enchanted by
Yes.
her. That's more what I got, and, once
Mm,
he, like, saw how beautiful she was and how enchanting she was, he just had to have her. So that's the vibe
Mm.
I
oh,
got
you're
from it.
so right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say, for me, it was just a very good and evil type situation where
Yeah.
I really think Inva's supposed to be good and he's like the devil type.
See, and I didn't
Um,
yeah, that was again, the whole villain stuff. So, like,
yeah.
everyone has this idea that Dacre is he is the god of the underworld, and so that means that
Yeah.
Mhm.
dark. But Kayla, you were just saying that he's the god of vitality and what was the other one?
Healing.
And healing,
Healing.
which is not death, right?
Well, and then she ferries mortal souls across after they die. So it's interesting because they have kind of reversed
Yeah.
roles,
Mhm.
but it kind of bothered me that he was the god of healing when he was going around murdering so many people, which Emva actually says to him. She's like, you could have saved every single one of these people, and you could have found me easily had you really looked rather than sending your hounds and your
A
ethrals,
war.
ethrals, ethrals,
Mhm.
whatever
Ethereals.
your little
That's how I
They
wyverns
say
said
it. Mhm.
ethereals.
out, yeah, and killing all these people. Whereas then she had to ferry them on. So I don't know. It's hard because they also put it out there that the narrative is very uncertain. Like all
Yes.
this information has been kind of
Word of mouth.
yeah, and any of the texts are like gone or have
Yes.
been removed, so no one really knows.
I mean, I honestly love the concept because I mean, I'm a video game girl. I've always been like, let me be the healer. I got you. I will heal you all day. I like seeing this idea though that a healer is evil. Like, I think
Mm,
that's a very interesting concept because usually we associate healing with good. And so to give it a dark spin, I think is actually really a neat concept. And so, especially because we kind of get a glimpse at he's healing them to bind them to him.
Mhm.
yes.
So
That's why he's
I'm
not recruiting people, you guys.
Mhm.
doesn't need to. He's literally enslaving them by like getting them on the brink of death and like bringing them back. So
Mhm.
I don't know. I liked it being kind of a darker cuz you do not associate healing. I mean, we're
No.
nurses, like most people don't assume nurses are bad. Obviously there's a few bad eggs. But
Mhm.
it's fun to take on that like darker role and then think about okay, she's really trying to bring them to a happy end and prevent them, I
Mhm.
feel like, from getting enslaved by him. So I don't know. I kind of like it being reversed in like how you have to think about it. Cause yes,
Mhm.
typically you would look at these very one's good, one's evil. And she flipped the script a little bit. And I like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because if Enva was supposed to be so good, then why was she calling all these people to war? Instead, she could just go back to him, go back to Dacre, and then stop all of this.
Mhm.
She's the reason
Mhm.
why this all
True.
started. It's always about a girl, you guys. It's always about a girl,
Mhm. Yeah.
you
Oh
know.
my
Well,
goodness. But also, can you
but
imagine being
also
enslaved
an
again?
obsessive stalker male
Mhm.
because
I don't know. I don't
I
believe
mean,
it. I'm gonna say it right now. I don't believe it. I think it
I
was her. She's the problem.
it's her.
You
She's
just
the
have
problem.
She-
so much hope in this main bad villain, and I love it so much because you're just like, he's better than we think, guys. He's
she
he's
picked
he's
him.
great.
She sang him a
See, and
song. She put him to
I feel
sleep.
like I can usually pick that out, but I'm not getting good vibes from him.
Nope.
No,
Nope. Okay.
Not getting good
I'm
vibes, but I'm
really
also not really
not.
getting good vibes from her. I think this could very well be a tale of like the gods are
They're
the
both
gods and the gods are
Gods
not
are dicks.
good because
They're all bad.
a lot of myths, whatever, the gods were not good.
Mm-mm.
yes.
There's a
No,
lot,
most of them aren't.
Even the good
yes.
ones
In
had like a
stories,
little
yeah,
psychoticness to
bad
them.
to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Hmm
I mean, Eternal Life doesn't like usually, it ends with a lot of bored gods that don't have anything better with their time than to
Fuck around with
get
other
into some
people.
puppeteer.
stuff.
Hmm
Hmm.
Yeah, so I think it could very well be that they're both bad because I also feel like it's weird that we haven't seen her at all. And she's not really
Yeah.
like, she's like showing up to these people, but really she's just like siren calling them. And sirens
hmm
are also not usually good in
Because
any
sirens call you to
story that
your
they're
what?
in.
To your death.
Death.
Yep.
Yeah.
hmm
So I don't know. I feel like they might both be bad
Bad.
news.
But I think
I can
Mhm.
she's
see that.
worse. Hmm
Mhm.
We're
But
gonna
I
read
did
the
think
book,
it's
and I'm like, fuck, I
interesting.
was wrong.
Oh my
I
god.
mean, I did think it was interesting though that because I also have a hard time wrapping my head around mortals being able to be gods. So the fact that like all of the gods were eradicated by mortals
Mhm.
and then enchanted to sleep, which is interesting because that's her thing. Um and then buried, so like completely overthrown by mortals. I have such a hard time wrapping my head around that because I'm just like, how? But
It
how? You know?
Yeah.
just happened.
Yeah, yeah, there's a lot more to this story.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
For sure.
Book 2 has a lot to go over for us, I think.
I know. I know. I also love though that she was getting all of her information from him, from his grandpa's, like his grandpa's books.
His journal.
Mhm.
Hmm
Yeah. And that like he has all this history about the myths and
Mhm.
the gods and all of that, and that even though it's his rival and he knows that, he was very willingly playing into it and giving her the information when he knew that she was working on an article.
I know. I mean, clearly he had very similar feelings about her early on too. He was very impressed by her writing, even though like he wanted the role kinda. His dad was kind of pushing him into it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was fun to see that relationship evolve in that like he really was just absorbing all of these letters and like taking it more to heart than we initially thought, and
Mm-hmm.
then just seeing that kind of transition slowly but surely happen as he's like, oh my god, like I should have paid for a freaking lunch, like I'm such an idiot, I can't he was so sad about that later, and I was just like, oh, bud, like you got too into the rivalry, but really you like her. And like
Mm-hmm.
she just didn't know, so you didn't know what to do about that. It was also I love that he really did tell her who he was much earlier than we got to see.
I know.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh my god, this whole time you could have known. Like this
Mm-hmm.
whole time. He was like, no, wait, let me tell you really quick who I am so you at least
Yeah.
know. Blissfully unaware. She goes off,
Um,
leaves it
how cool
behind.
was it, you guys, that Roman's house was magical? Like it just did all the things for him.
Uh-huh. I
So that's why it
loved
was so
that.
easy for him to find all the things. He just had to be like, I need this. And they're like, okay, turn on the
Mhm.
light. All right, there you go. You want a fire? Let
It
me make
reminded me of
No.
the It reminded me of the House of Wind
Yeah,
because
I got
they're
that
like,
kind of
I want
too.
this food. I want like it like
Yes.
has a sentience to it.
Mhm.
Yes.
It
Like,
did. It, like,
knows that
took
he's
care of
having a
him.
bad day.
I know. I loved that.
Give him some milk.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
And then, like, Roman, even though he was Iris's competitor or whatever you want to call it, rival, he really did fall in love with her words first. And it helped her words, like, as she was writing to Forrest, because that's who she thought that the letters were going
Yes.
to, or at least
Mhm.
who she hoped it was going to, because her letters would
Yes.
disappear underneath her wardrobe or whatever. He fell in love with her words. Like, it just helped heal
Mhm.
his heart from his lost sibling who had died
Mhm.
so
Oh,
tragically. Like,
so sad.
and I'm sure he
I
blames himself for it because he fell asleep and she drowned.
I
I that
struggled with
part.
that part.
Yeah, same. Big
Got
time.
tears coming. I
Big
could feel
time.
them. My nose is burning.
Uh-huh. Yeah, no, very much struggled with that. Like, because of course you just think about your own sibling when you're like reading stuff like that, and you're like, I mean, how easy could that have they were still so young. He was really just trying to do his sister a solid and got a
Mhm.
little tired, drifted off, and oh shit, she drowned. Like, I just can't imagine living with that guilt your whole life. And then his parents even then putting that on him. I was just like, oh my God, not only are you dealing with your own guilt, but your parents are laying that on you thick too.
Well,
Yeah.
dad
You
is
you
especially.
fucked up. Correct. You fucked up. So now you're gonna do the family a solid because I was like, "Oh my God, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine how devastating that would be." And so the way he handled himself, I was impressed by also. Like, yeah, she had her, whole issue with her mom and presented herself very well. He presented himself very well as like
Mhm.
also. So I was just like, man, they have so much going on behind the scenes, but they're putting on this strong front, both of them, when
Mhm.
really
And
things at home are
yeah. And
rough.
then add on top of that, his dad tries to get him engaged to some Miss Little, some
I know.
rando girl who
Who
has a
doesn't want
daddy
to be
that his
married to
daddy
him
wants.
either?
No, Eleanor Little.
Like, what? I wanna know what they have. What do they have that's, like, that daddy wants? Like, what
Yeah,
is it?
The gas.
I know, but what
That
does it
can't.
do?
What do you mean? What does it do?
What's it supposed to do? What gas? Did I
the gas
what?
that happens at the end. Like
The gas
when
that
the
happens
That's
at
gas
the
is
their
end.
every
gas?
The canister.
that's their
They
gas.
made
That's
that
the
gas.
bomb.
Shit.
Mhm.
So
So
wait,
they're
That's
like
what Dacre is
really
like.
happy.
because they
Yeah.
did
Like,
say that they're
my
part of
human
Dacre.
servants have like done well this time or whatever. It's them, and they're doing it so that when he comes to oath, that they'll be like raised up because they believe that Dacre's gonna win. And so he's literally marrying his son off so that he can be like wrapped in with that of like, yeah,
Mm.
remember we
We
helped
did you a
you.
solid. Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And now it
We
doesn't
made
even
it
need
so that you could take over these towns super easily and get all of your little minions to follow
Yeah.
you.
damn it.
Well, and she was creepy.
Yeah.
How like cold she was, and the fact that she was like, we won't share a bed, and like I'll just
We'll
come
take
in
lovers.
when we need to make an heir, and was like fine living that life.
Um,
I don't even know
who,
what I was imagining. I'm just imagining like zombie lady just
who do you think her
like
love interest was?
nobody home.
Who do you think her love interest is? Do you think that's gonna come up?
No, I
Like,
don't think it'll come up.
or is
No.
that just like a
Mhm.
obviously she's not into you because she has someone else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think she probably is into someone else, but
I think it might be a
I
girl.
yeah,
I don't
that
know.
could
I'm
be.
here for it. I'm here for that.
She was not
Yeah.
interested in him at all. So,
No,
no.
not at all. And they made
No,
him
and
out to
he's
be a
supposed to be
like
like
an
attractive and
attractive,
she was
yeah,
not.
Yes.
was
And
not
she
phased
was
by him.
not feeling it at all. I mean, I
No.
get
Yeah.
that everyone has, like, their own flavors or whatever,
Yes.
but
Yeah, totally.
she was not
I thought it
dipping
was
into that.
interesting that his dad like caught on that he was into Iris. His dad caught on that he was into Iris before like
He
I
really
thought
did.
that he was actually like invested in Iris. I was like, how did you?
I
I mean,
know.
they hadn't even really been communicating through their letters yet by the time that like not deeply into their letters at
Yeah.
that point when his dad already noticed that.
Mhm.
Well, because they had gone to lunch, that one time, and he was like, "Obviously, you're in love with the girl," and it's like, "Whoa."
Yeah, and that's when he was like, "Well, I didn't even buy her I
Oh,
paid to
is
Yes.
that
buy her lunch. So it was like that was like stepping over the line as an engaged
Correct.
man was buying her a lunch.
because he didn't want to get engaged? So he think he already had claimed that he didn't want to be engaged or want to get married or
Oh
anything.
yeah,
Thought he had already told his dad
Yeah,
that.
so maybe that's why.
immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's why he was like watching him to see like, oh,
What
obviously
is
there's
it?
someone else in the picture if you want to agree to it,
Oh
and
yeah.
then
Yeah.
thought, oh, it has to be her because that's the only girl I've seen you with.
Mhm.
That makes more sense because yeah, I felt like that was really fast him picking. I was like,
Yeah,
what?
that makes sense.
Where did you get that from? Did the
Mhm.
Yeah.
house tell you that? Like, what's happening?
Did the house tell you?
Does the house talk to
I
everyone or
just
just him?
I feel like it's
I
just
think it
him
has a
and
soft
Nan.
spot
I
for
feel like
him.
House
Yeah.
probably talks to Nan too.
Oh, 100%. I think
Nan
it
is
talks to
oh,
him as
talks to
well.
Nan. I thought you meant like the house
Yeah.
was Nan, and I'm like, no, she's alive. What are you talking about? Never mind. Forget
I
it.
mean,
No.
that does sound like somewhere we would go, but no, she is still
Right.
alive.
I hated how he felt like he deserved to be unhappy forever
Yeah, because
because of what
they
happened
did.
to Dell, and that this marriage was his penance basically for letting
Mhm.
his sister die, and that his dad really does kind of like essentially say that like you failed the family before, like you're not going to fail us again.
Yep.
That made me
Mhm.
so sad. Like he just kept
I
saying over
agree.
and over again like I deserve this. I deserve to be unhappy.
Yes, and so I like that though it was through the letters that he was like, "Oh, wait, no. I actually don't have to." Like, I appreciate that it
Mhm.
was her words that changed the tide, and obviously she left because he got the role, whatever, goes enlists herself to be a God, what is it called? I'm already blanking.
War correspondent?
Yes, a war correspondent with the opposing newspaper, which loved that.
The ink
Um,
written
Mhm.
what? Ink written journal? No.
Ink Written Tribune.
Tribune. Mhm.
yes. Um, uh, Loved that whole thing, and so loved that she also picked up on the whole because who oh, it was them that told her about the typewriters, right? That
Mhm.
there was
Yeah, it
Mhm.
was
actually
Helena
mhm,
Hammond, the
yeah.
editor or whatever there.
Yeah, that told her about that, and so I like that she kinda, like, then picked up on, "Oh, wait, it's not the wardrobe, it's actually probably the typewriter," and so
Mhm.
loved that revelation
Mhm.
also. I was like, "Thank God," because we gotta still write this mystery man, even though not a mystery to us at that point. But yeah, so long tangent. Back to him. Really went off there. But I like that it was her that then kind of convinced him to basically do the same thing, say, F you, dad, F this engagement. I'm
Mhm.
leaving this newspaper that you want me to work at because I don't even, he wanted to be what? He wanted to
Go
go
to
into,
go to
yes,
English school, like study literature
yes.
basically. Mhm.
And so he's like, F you, I'm going to become a war correspondent and also go off and find the girl. I was like, oh my
Mhm.
God, yes,
I was
let's
shocked.
go.
I was not
Oh, I was
expecting
so
him to do that.
pumped.
I'm
I
not gonna
kinda
lie. I
did
thought that it
expect
was
him
gonna
to do
be
that, actually.
I don't know what I thought was gonna be. I thought he was gonna like actually marry this lady, and then
Nah.
I was like, how is this gonna work? Because I don't know. I was actually that is one that I was pretty shocked when he showed up and was just like, "F you, dad, I'm out."
Nah, as soon
I
as
didn't think he had
there
it in
was
him because
a
a lot of guys that are
yeah,
that like under their dad's thumb wouldn't have made that decision. So it's like, good on you,
true.
bud.
Mhm.
True, I get that, but no, as soon like, I don't know. I really felt like that was gonna happen, and as soon as she saw a mystery man out the window, I was like, "It's him! It's
That's what
freaking
I thought
him!
too.
It's gotta be
Hmm.
him!" Like, I got
Oh
so
yeah, as
pumped.
soon as that happened, I knew it was him for sure.
Oh my god, I
He's
was
gonna get
too
eaten
excited.
by the
Dude, I know.
eagle, the
I was like,
siren.
"Great, he made it, and now he's gonna die.
Mhm.
What
Hmm.
then what?" And so, I loved her reaction to that as well, where she's just like, "I've gotta save him," even though, again, to her, at that point, he's still her rival, and
Mhm.
and she's like, "What the hell is he doing here?" But
Uh-huh.
she's still me gut reaction, "I've gotta save him." That whole thing was intense, the way she
Yeah.
just I really
Fell on
pictured her
him.
just freaking tackling the shit out of
So
him,
did
and
I.
I loved
And
it
then
Like
so
the
much, the
laying
breathing.
her
visual.
body over the top of him.
I
Yeah, as he's
totally
Mhm.
tearing up, seeing the freaking
And he's just
ethereals.
staring there like
I tried he's,
seeing
like,
all of
holding
it.
onto her hips and stuff. I just trying to breathe the way they were trying to breathe, where, like, the in
Yeah.
and out part, like, where
super shallow.
Well, like, because she would take a breath in and he would take a breath out, so they would like basically be
So you're in
together
there
with
going,
it. Yeah, I'm like, how does that
breathing
work?
each other's air.
Yeah, and I'm like,
You're
I think
both
I
just
feel like
like
I'm
all the
suffocating.
CO2. Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I'm like,
And then
breathe
of
this
course,
way.
like for real though, I would have been like, this is too much hot breath in my face, even though, and then you had your adrenaline pumping, so you're already fucking on fire. Your heart rate's racing. I was like, how are you even staying still?
I'd be
like,
sweating all
this.
over.
Yeah, dripping all over him. And meanwhile, he's just like, okay, she told me to stay still, and I'm seeing some real bad shit up there. And okay, we're just doing this. Like, what is happening?
I know.
I
well, and
died
he's
that
not
whole
even like
scene.
aware of these things yet because they haven't even told him any of the rules or that like ethereals are, you know, an actual thing.
But how did he get
Yes.
there faster than the train did?
The train broke down, so he
The
walked
train
the rest of the way.
stopped because of the ethereals.
Yeah,
He walked.
I
he
know,
walked
but
it.
Oh, so the train would have been fixed, and then they would have resumed the journey, and then they would have got
No,
there
the
the next day.
remember every time that they see ethereals, they stop. It's the same thing that happened when Iris was on the train with Addie on their way. The train stopped for a hot minute because they saw ethereals, and so bombs.
I thought
If
it
they
broke
moved, they would have
down.
got bombed.
Why did I think that? Now you have to
Yeah,
look.
so then he just decided to hop off the train and walk his happy ass there.
I know he walked.
Couldn't wait to see her.
Because I thought that he got there a day early for some reason.
Well, he got there during the day instead of the nighttime, like,
Yeah,
which is when
he would have been there that night.
Yeah.
Was it that?
Because that was the thing. The train
they could outrun
stops
the
until nighttime. Yeah, and then it moves at night.
Okay.
Can we talk about the sirens?
Oh. Yeah.
Backtrack. 1, Marisol. Love her.
Oh.
2, Addie. Love her. Loved their whole little, like, 1, also the fact that she kept... I'm picturing her. Obviously, she's very motherly.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess I am a mom, so I'm motherly too. But, you know, these are 18, 19-year-old, 20,
young girls
coming is,
war.
Women. And she's only 33, and it's like, she's like their mama.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, she's basically the same age as me. But why am I picturing her is
an older?
Her,
because
like,
she
50s.
was so doting. Yes.
Yeah,
it was just the way
like,
she acted that you were like, you got this like older vibe from her, but really she had lived some really like she was very mature in that she had been through so much at that point. So like even though she was only 33, she had an older soul, I think, than that.
She was so really sweet. She was like my girls. Like instantly they were her babies.
I know. I loved that so much. And then I loved the whole her initially keeping her wife a secret thing, that because she just like didn't want to tell him what actually had been going on. And then when they found out, I thought that was very endearing. Like our whole relationship. And then the garden.
The garden was so
sweet. About all of that.
Let's talk about another reason we want to kick Forrest in the face. The fucking garden. You just traipsed right through it.
I'm like, what happened? Yeah, the garden. Well,
I mean, we'll get to that, but anyway.
That scared me. I was actually kind of like, what is that? What's going through? What's going through the house? What's stealing the things?
I thought that was Dacre.
Yeah, I struggled with what that was. I was just like, something bad's gonna happen.
Yeah,
I had that bad
Dacre.
feeling.
I thought that he was coming to steal her away or something, that he knew something about her or had been watching her and figured something out. Because she does seem very in tune to the magic of the land. He senses these shifts in the wind and these, like, she can kind of sense magic when it's around. Like she just seems sensitive to it. And maybe everybody is, and because they grow up around it and they just know. Yeah. But she does seem to notice things like that a lot. So I don't know. But the sirens, I'm just imagining these all going off and how terrifying it would be. Like you know, like you've got 3 minutes for this one, you've got 2 minutes for this one, and the other one is just like, oh, you're gonna die if you don't immediately leave. And that's just your, you know, your crash course as soon as you, like, welcome to being a war correspondent. Here you go. Immediately if any of this happens.
Yeah, no, it was for me, very reminiscent of my upbringing in Kansas, because we always had sirens going off for tornadoes, and then there was always they would do, like, freaking testing on it
Drills.
freaking all the time. So it felt very reminiscent of that for me, obviously more intense because, I mean, yes, you needed to act fast for those if there really was a tornado, but these were, like, really fast, and I just was shocked by, like, okay, if you're outside, you need to get outside within or get inside within 2 minutes, and or you need to lay flat and not move until they're gone. Like, okay, that is
Mhm.
terrifying. But I mean, I guess similar for tornadoes, like, freaking get down as low as you can or fucking get in the like, get
Yeah.
down to the basement or you might get yanked by a tornado. Um, so, like, it had that vibe for me, and even the siren sound is the exact same siren sound that I grew up with was the tornado sound. That's how I pictured it,
Yeah.
just being in, like, a cyclic either 2 or, like I was just like, this
Mhm.
feels I wonder where she's from. I'm gonna look that up because 'cause I'm just
Yeah.
curious
Is she
now.
from
'Cause
I
Kansas? I
mean,
mean, I was in Indiana for a few years or whatever,
I mean, really anywhere with
and
tornadoes would
that
just
was the same thing. The sirens would go off every once in a while.
yeah.
And let me tell you, as someone that was born and raised and grew up in the Pacific
Oh.
Northwest where that is not a thing, I was terrified. I was like the one that'd be like, I'm gonna go hang out in the bathroom, whereas everyone else that's from Indiana was like,
Eh.
oh, look, there it is, right outside my window. Like, couldn't have bothered them at all.
Uh-huh.
Literally staring at it right outside their window. They wouldn't move, didn't bother them. It's like nowhere
Mhm.
even near me. It might just be an emergency one or like a fake one. I'm still in the bathroom, scared, thinking I'm gonna die.
see, and I was imagining it like our
Um,
codes at work, where I'm just like, I hear it, I'm like, where,
Uh,
where is it? Where am I going? What's
that would
happening?
be worse.
But
That
that's
would
just
be so much worse.
I've never grew up in a place that
yeah,
really
with
had that kind
Mhm.
sirens.
of
Yeah.
situation. I mean, but just like just how fast people had to react, and you're like, okay, which one is this
Yeah.
one? Oh shit, I got to do this, and yeah, no, alarm fatigue, it's real.
Yeah.
No, I
I had a
agree.
hard time differentiating between the day one and the intermittent one. So is the day one just like a and then the intermittent like you gotta go one was like a woo
Yeah, that's kinda how I
wee
pictured
wee wee
yeah.
you know
I imagine it like
something like
the
that.
code, the Amber alerts on our phone.
Oh,
Oh
mhm. Yeah,
Mm.
I got that. She grew
yeah,
up
I
in
was
Georgia.
oh
But she had worked in Colorado at some point, so I mean, still could have heard some sirens.
yeah probably. I feel like they still have them probably down in Georgia.
Yeah. Well, I mean, do they have
That's probably more hurricane
hurricane sirens? I don't know.
or
Is that a
yeah
thing? I'm guessing.
probably
Maybe,
I would think they have some sort of something for hurricanes.
yeah.
yeah I would think
Hurricane
so
siren.
too.
I'm learning, guys.
I also struggled with the fact that the Ethrils just carry bombs. Coming from all
Yeah.
the other like dragon books that we read and wyvern books, I'm like,
Why aren't you eating
underutilizing
them?
a
Yeah,
great asset here, bud. You're just using them as little carriers. Why aren't you having them go down and chomp people?
I know. But I mean, only movement stirs them. Like they
Mhm.
clearly can't see very well.
That's probably true. I mean, they're
That
born of
I found
darkness or whatever. They're
yeah.
like from underground. They
Yeah, no,
might be
that whole thing
sightless.
was interesting.
I just kept thinking about that every time. It's like, why are they just only carrying
Uh-huh.
bombs?
The other thing I enjoyed reading about, I mean, I guess enjoyed is a strong way to put it. When they do finally go to the war front
Mm.
and he like makes himself like, I'm coming, I will hold on to the side of the freaking like buggy if I have to. I'm
He's like,
coming
"I'm
with
going with
you.
you."
You can
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
thank God he did. Otherwise, I mean, she would have died. Like
Her
he
Yeah.
leg.
freaking saved her ass so many times. I felt like I was like, girl, how are you this oblivious right now? You are literally at the war front. What are you not getting about that?
Yeah. But also the fact that like you don't have like the one horse, but you have the one seat happening
Yeah.
where
He's like, "Don't
Uh
move.
he
huh.
You're
has
gonna
to
fly
sit
into the
on his lap
window." Yeah.
and it's
Yeah,
just
it's
like
not a
bumping, so she's just like bouncing
jumping
on
his lap. Yeah.
The way you were like, she's bumpy. I was like, oh.
I mean,
bumping him. Sorry.
that's basically what was happening. Well, and then he was having to kind of like almost keep in a way where she like no one would bump their head.
Yeah, he
'Cause,
had her
like,
like lay back against him, and then
she's
he
like,
likes to hold her hips. There's a lot of talking about holding hips
yes,
in here.
very,
Mhm.
very into that for sure.
I love a good hip hold
No,
though.
I mean, same. Yeah, instead of a one bed trope, we just have a one seat trope. I did appreciate the
The
forced
change.
proximity in that moment.
Yeah.
Oh my
I
god.
also loved that she's like trying to read the note from Carver. We haven't even talked about Carver.
I
Oh,
know.
Carver.
I loved that reveal.
Finally gets a name. His name is
Mhm.
Carver, and she's having all these mixed feelings between Roman and Carver because she has
Died.
feelings for both of them.
Uh-huh.
I loved that he knows she's reading the note that will give away who he is, and he's like chucking little balls of paper across the trench at her, being annoying to try to get her to stop reading it.
It's like, now's not the time. Don't do it.
I
That part killed me. I
died.
was like giggling that entire part.
Yes, because it felt
He's like,
very kiddish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
And, like, that literally gets her to stop reading because she's like, "Just freaking stop. I'm gonna read my
yeah,
fine, I won't even read my letter right now. God damn it. I'll read it later." And he's just like, "Ha ha ha, I did it."
yeah,
You know he felt so proud of himself too when she freaking stopped. And, you know, he was probably pretending to fall asleep just to see if she would do that. Like,
yeah.
there was
Oh,
no way he
yeah.
actually fell asleep and then was like, "I knew it." Start throwing paper at her. I was like, "Oh my god,
I knew
you were so fucking funny about it."
It's because he's a
know.
kid,
I
you
liked
guys. He's
that.
still a baby. He's 19.
I
Yeah.
mean, they are still babies. Let's be real. Little 19-year-old selves
And it's
freaking
young love.
getting
He loves
married.
her, guys. He
Oh,
loves
I
Oh
her.
yeah.
know.
Well, and
You
he
know,
tells
I
her that
really
in that letter.
We know.
I know. I loved that whole the letters back and forth. I enjoyed reading those a lot.
Can I tell you guys something?
Oh God, yes, I'm prepared.
So it's nothing
Are you?
bad. So when Jeff and I first started dating, Jeff is my husband. We both worked at the same office, but he worked there on the weekends just to kind of like clean it up and stuff. And
Mhm.
then I would come in on Monday and whatever, do my job. And he would leave me little notes like underneath my keyboard. And then I'd find the note. And then he'd say, go look underneath the mug. And then I look underneath the mug and find another little note there. And then he's like, so it was like a scavenger hunt every Monday for these
Oh my
little love notes
god.
that he would. So I'm just like, this.
So you were
Oh,
loving the
I was
letters is what
loving it.
you're
And then I actually found just last week one of the notes that he has left me because I was taking it home all the way, and it was just, and there'd just be like a little sticky notes. So I
That's
loved it.
very
I
cute.
know.
You
that's
guys are too
very
cute. I can't.
that's very ironic because earlier when I was sending you guys my old Snapchats of my
Yeah.
daughter because it's almost her 6th birthday, so I'm getting all her baby stuff.
Mhm.
In there was a picture of a note that like a letter that Kyle actually mailed to me because we were dating for like a month and then it was winter break and he lived 4 or 5 hours away from me. And so over winter break, he mailed me an actual letter and that came up today. And it was a letter about like when we
Guys,
first started dating and
stop.
being excited for the future and
Yeah.
things like that. So funny, how ironic.
I
Man,
know.
this generation's really gonna miss out on letters, I feel like. I know it's still a thing,
I
but, like,
know.
you just don't write
It's
them the
not the
same way you
same.
used to. I
Mhm.
remember having pen pals back in the day.
Yeah,
Does anyone even still do that? I just uh,
Um,
probably not.
maybe it's like a
Or passing
volunteer job
letters in
for the old
school.
people homes.
yeah.
Because they
That'll be
still
us.
do it, right? And so they want someone to write back to them. So I feel like
Yeah,
that's a
but I
thing.
just letters are so underappreciated now, I
I
feel
remember
like. I
like
do love.
folding them into little intricate,
Yes!
like
Mhm.
we
Mm-hmm.
knew how to origami back then, you guys.
We knew how to
Yes.
origami.
We could
Yep.
origami the shit out of a letter.
You're gonna get a heart. Yes, you are.
And a
dead.
SWAK sealed with a kiss.
Oh my god, I'm dead. I
Well, because
love
even in the military now, don't they email? It's not even necessarily written
I don't know.
letters
Actually,
anymore, is it?
I don't know.
I
I
know
feel
you
like
can
a lot
email
of
back
it's
and
gone
forth.
electronic. I mean, I think you
Mhm.
can still write letters, but even that I feel like has because it
Well,
takes so long is
yeah.
part of it now.
When my two older children were in basic training, I still got letters. Like I had to send them letters and they would mail me letters
Okay.
back. So that's because I didn't have the privileges of using computers and stuff
Yeah.
like that then. But I don't know
Yeah.
how it is once you're stationed
I was
place.
gonna say, I feel like
Yeah.
basic training still might be that way, but I feel like when you get out, it kind of
Mm-hmm.
you get upgraded to the internet version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
graded.
Upgraded.
But yes, I love that we had that letter writing and note finding
Yeah.
I
and
know.
I love that. I love that
Mhm.
so hard, guys.
It's fun to find little things like because Kyle is like leaves little notes. Like when if he'll make my lunch or something, he'll leave little notes and has throughout the years, and I'll randomly find them. But he's also the same in that he's very sentimental. Where like if I write him a card for Valentine's Day or his birthday or whatever, I'll find them. Like he will keep all of
mm-hmm.
them
Mhm.
in like a little stack, and I'll find them like
Yep.
in his closet somewhere. So
Same.
it's funny.
And I'm like, can you just throw these away? And he's
I
like,
love
no.
it.
And I'm like, "Ugh."
It's sentimental.
Like just
I know.
I'm like, just throw it
He's much
away.
more sentimental than I am.
It's okay.
I'm
They
like, this is so
Yeah.
sweet. Meow.
Yeah.
It's like the kids when they bring you home
Yeah.
like their their art projects from school. You're like,
Oh
oh,
my god,
this
it's
is great. I love it. Recycle. Maybe I'll
You have
keep
to
this
like pick
one.
like the very specific one that I like. Okay, this is one that I will keep and show you when you're
Yeah.
Yes.
30
Older.
years old because I know my mom has several. I'm like, okay.
See, my mom
I'll
kept too
go
much
through
of my
them.
stuff. I was like, "Mom, what am I gonna do with this kindergarten? What even is this? I don't even know what I was trying to draw here, Mom. Like, I think you could have tossed this
Yeah.
one."
My mom just asked me if I wanted all of my schoolwork that she had kept elementary,
Mhm.
junior high, high school. She had
Yep.
all of it. And I was like,
I got to go through all of mine. It was
I
a
actually
chore, let
like
me
looking
tell
back
you.
at that stuff. I like looking at the evolution
yeah.
of my handwriting. I love looking at
Well,
that.
yeah, your handwriting's perfect.
Mine didn't evolve. So,
No, I like looking
me
at
and
that.
my
Like,
terrible handwriting
Oh my
still to
God.
this day.
like even like all my old nursing notebooks and stuff like that. I like to look at them. I'm like, God, I was like fucking neurotic. Like I was like, because you know.
Nursing school for you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's fine. I'm over that
I'm
now.
dead.
Yeah, no, your handwriting is literally perfect.
Well, thank
Yeah,
you.
it's so nice. Thank God, honestly, for one of us
Mhm.
in this group with beautiful handwriting.
Hey, you guys are
Yeah.
legible. It's not bad.
Okay, legibility shouldn't be, I feel like, qualifying for good handwriting.
You're so funny.
Anywho, we were on the war front. Things escalate.
She lost her necklace her
And
mom had.
I know she lost her necklace. His freaking leg gets blown up
Mm-hmm.
from a bomb that
And
he
he's
was
about to
saving
die.
her from.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And she's like, and the whole time he's like, you've got to get my backpack.
I know.
that
Over and over
backpack.
again. Get my bag.
I know. She was like, what? No, ignore the backpack.
He could have just
sir,
told
I'm
her.
trying-
He could have just told her then. But he's like, get my bag.
Hey,
Get my
I'm
bag.
I really thought he was
Carver.
going to. I'm like, Bud, what are you waiting for? If you're dying, just freaking tell her.
No, he needs
Nope.
the backpack to tell her. And then I do love that, yes, we get him off, thank God, whatever. And she keeps getting all these tasks. I was like, woman, why are you still going back? What
Same.
are you going to do, ma'am? But also then stumbles upon his backpack. I was like, of course you do. Of course you find his backpack and you pick it up. I was like, I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid
But
backpack.
I also like that one of the people were like, you're going to go get all the injured people of, the one
Of
correspondent
everyone.
that's very obviously wearing the things like you are not military,
Correct.
whatever. I'm gonna send you. But then when she comes back, she gets scolded for still being there. And they're like, why didn't you
Because
leave?
she got scolded from, I thought, the main guy who originally told them to get out. Because it
Yeah.
was a different guy who
Mhm.
was like, "Get back in there and keep getting them out." And she was like, "Yes, sir, I'll do that now."
And I picture her as like pretty petite. I don't know why. In my mind, I picture her as like
Yes.
Mhm.
petite. So I'm just imagining her trying to carry these guys out
Why
of there
was
that
she
are like
singled
dead
out?
weight.
I do Yes.
Probably because
I did not.
she was kneeling over Roman, right? When
Yeah.
that happened. So
Mm.
So he was like, "Well, you helped with this one,
you're
keep
here
going."
now. Yeah.
And then barely
Yeah,
got
but
on
she
the
had a
final
soldier that
buggy.
helped her.
Well,
I
and
mean,
then
she
that
pushed it a little close there for my liking.
Mhm.
yeah, no, agreed. That death was sad also on the
Lieutenant Lark
Mhm.
Yeah. And
and the
like
entire Sycamore platoon.
I know that whole thing,
Mhm.
like when he's like telling her and then he dies, I was like, okay.
That was so sad and how the name came to be.
I
I got
know.
Yes, I
But they all
know.
signed a sycamore.
That
I'm
was
telling you
very
guys, that
sad.
generation is just so
I
sentimental and
know.
they just hold so much value to like family,
Mhm.
whether it's like blood or just relationships. And I'm just
Mhm.
Whoever
I
Yeah.
love that.
I know. Well, and I just feel like those in war really bond on a different level too.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
these
That
are
Oh
trauma
yeah.
bonding
family
is
now.
real.
Yeah,
Fuck.
very much so. So I know that whole
Well, and they're
too
children
sad.
still. I mean, they're enlisted when they're 18 years old. They have this mighty idea of, making a difference and
Mhm.
glory and all of that that's all preached to them and who knows whatever Enva is telling them when they go. But they
Mhm.
like literally went as a group from their town
Mhm.
and they're
Mhm.
still kids even if they've been there for like however
Yeah.
long, they're still probably in their early 20s at that point.
Yes.
So,
Mhm.
like,
Um,
oh.
I did love that. Not love. That's not the right word for it. I liked how Iris's how she had her struggle. Like she just couldn't figure out how she was going to write like a story about what was happening there. Like
Mhm.
she
Yeah.
didn't find her niche yet. But then she's like, you know what? I can write a letter for you. Like I've been looking and waiting for a letter from my brother for so long. Let me take down
Mhm.
these words for you, put them to paper, and then I will get them out to whoever you need me to get them to.
Mhm.
I did not think that she was just going to write them and then what's it called? I thought she was just going to write them and send them off originally. But
Mhm.
then when
Mhm.
she asked Carver to mail them for her because she
Mhm.
did them in the typewriter, at least it got there. She saved so much on
Yeah.
postage, you guys.
Mhm.
So much
Well,
on
and
postage.
like
Yeah, because then he paid for it.
I know.
He took
yeah.
it to the post.
Well, and I imagine it being a
I
much
totally thought
quicker
about that. I was like, "Damn, he's buying all the stamps. Good on you,
but
bud.
he
That's a
got
way to suck
money.
up."
But also like I can imagine that saved a bunch of time. It got those letters probably so much faster
Mhm.
because they weren't
Mhm.
having to get through this train that has to stop and like go through I just felt like it
Mhm.
was a much quicker method. Thank God
Mhm.
for a little magic. But then it was also so sad when he did arrive and like she sent letters and he was like, "I am so sorry.
Yeah.
Um
I
yeah, I
can't.
can't do that now. I can't really tell you why I can't do that now.
Yeah. But
But
also,
I
if you think
can't."
about it, they were sending it to Oath, which is what,
Mhm.
600 kilometers away. And Oath is not included in the war yet. And everyone that's in the war is like in the area that they're in right then. So really, they're sending them like way over here and then out. So maybe it wasn't faster. Because would it
Other
have to
than
come
you're
back on
getting it
that
all the
train?
way to Oath.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
if it was already gonna have to go to Oath, then you at least skipped that part, I
Mhm.
guess. But
True.
I mean,
yeah.
maybe. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if it had to go there or not. Be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Semantics. None of this actually matters, but
Semantics.
None of it actually matters. We're just
God,
thinking way too hard into this. Like, how do we make this more real?
see,
I
we're making this
know.
like more in depth. The author's like, no, just take it for what it is. Don't make this a thing.
Yeah.
No one needs to know those details.
They don't.
We can't just take things at face value ever. It's fine, guys.
I can.
We read too much. You can.
I'm like, okay.
No.
Kayla cannot. Oh my
Most of the time I
god.
can.
No, I can't. I
I
have to think of
know.
all these.
Oh my
Did you
god.
guys think that when she came back, obviously, she finally reads the letter,
Mm-hmm.
cues him that it's him off of the
Yes.
wording because he asked for those words.
Uh-huh. Which I
Did
did
you
love
think
that.
she was gonna forgive him as quickly as she did?
I mean, she still took a few days to process, but I mean, I think being the time that it was and being in war and like realizing how valuable time is and just having lost basically all of her loved ones at that
Mhm.
point, um, I think is what helped expedite that. I found it refreshing that we weren't going to harbor something for an eternity like another main female character we have discussed at great length. So I found it refreshing we actually
Mhm.
I
forgive
thought
this.
it was gonna be a lot faster. I thought that she would read it and she's like, "Oh my god, they're the same person." I have feelings for the same person. Like, I thought that these were
Mhm.
the two
Mhm.
different people, and I'd
Yeah.
had to make a decision. Obviously, she already had chosen Roman over Carver, but
Mhm.
now she gets the best of
Yep.
both worlds. She fell in love
Yeah,
with
because she
Yeah.
got them both.
yeah,
Mhm.
like, he was there for her the whole time, and I thought she wasn't gonna
Yep.
be mad. I thought she was gonna be like, "Yes, like,
Yeah.
I can't believe it, and now he's hurt, like, I gotta get to him." I didn't think
Mhm.
he was gonna be mad, but that was just me being a hopeless romantic at that point and just saying,
Yeah.
"Love
Yeah.
him. Love
Yeah.
him."
I
Well, and
know.
then that
I was
whole infirmary scene too, I
I
was
know.
just like him hopping out of bed with his poor
ripping out
leg.
his IV.
I was like, "Dude,
You guys are gonna
okay."
be
And then them, like,
snogging over
having a little
here.
make out in the hallway as his poor legs just bleeding through. I was like, "Oh my god."
Mhm.
Honestly, if that's not young love, I don't know what
I
is. That
know,
feels
right?
like a 19-year-old
Yeah,
situation for sure.
like, "It's
We'd
okay
be
if I'm bleeding."
broken.
Yeah, it's fine. I
I
finally get
mean,
to kiss you.
I was also relieved that that wasn't drawn out
Yes.
because yeah, I
It's a
mean, I was like, you're
duology.
getting the
They
best
can't
of.
draw it out that much.
Agreed.
I know, but I was also because I do that where I'll be like, what part of the book I'm in? Okay, I'm at
Yes.
Mhm.
80%. So yeah, we should be good here,
Yeah, I
right?
do
Uh,
too.
I think
Yes.
about that every time. It's like I feel like
Mhm.
that's kind of cheating, but whatever. But I was glad that they didn't draw it out because I was like, okay, we're this far into this. Like, let's just get to it. Figure
Mhm.
out who he is. Be together now.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see at this point.
On a
And
side
Well,
note,
and then
I
you
love that in them for me. He
yeah.
was like, "Ask me my middle name.
Mhm.
Ask me one more time." And he said, "My name is Roman Carver Kidd." And then he kissed her. I was like,
when
I
also
love
we
that.
all like she's so smart. As soon as it was a C name, I feel like I would have. And mind you, this is just me being me as a reader. I'm just like,
Same.
it's a C, you idiot. You've
Yep.
literally called him every other
Every
C
other name.
bad name in the book. You really think Carver's that perfect for it? Like,
I didn't
come
think of
on.
it. I'm a dork. I don't think of that stuff.
No, I loved it though. I thought that was a very fun play on it being his middle name and the
Yep.
fact she had filled in the blank for him so many times on what his middle name had to be, and he was just like, "Yeah,
He's
whatever."
like, "I never
Like,
lied to
I thought it was
you.
cute.
I never lied
I
to you."
Mm-hmm.
know. He did like
I
that.
mean, as much as I thought that like that was an appropriate timeline, the immediately turning around and being like, and I'm proposing now. I was like, whoa, okay. That part of it I wasn't quite prepared for. That felt
Rushed.
like children in war that are
Yes.
scared.
I
Because I was like, damn, we're really going
oh,
for it.
shit.
Like,
I
Mhm.
didn't think of it like that. I thought that I mean, yes, they were in war, but I was thinking that the proposal was because he really did love like, he said that he loved her. Like, he's like, "This is
mm-hmm.
you are who I want to be with." And then because of the
Yeah.
war, he's like, "Why not? Like, I just got blown
Mm-hmm.
up. Like, we're not guaranteed anything. Like,
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
do this."
Yeah.
And
Well,
Totally.
and if she really is going for an early 1900s vibe, that is more common
yep.
during that time anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
Military. Are you kidding
people
me? Mhm.
and military,
That's
yes.
still common now
Yes.
Correct. But I
in the
mean,
military.
I think just in general, that was very common on all fronts. That was not just a wartime. Because I mean, his dad was like proposing him off at 19. So
Yeah.
clearly it was of the times to get married young like that.
Yeah.
So the fact he was like, I found my girl, I almost died. Bada bing, bada boom, let's get married.
Yep.
I will somehow get down on one knee while my leg is broken. That
Well,
killed
and
me. I was
bleeding, like popping open his surgical sites to try to get down on one knee.
sir,
Bud.
she would not care if you're standing. Okay? Like,
But you guys, I'm telling you, whenever I see really older people, just how like they still have like that. Let me hold the door open for you. It'll take me just a minute to
yes.
get there, but
Yes.
I'm gonna get the door for you, honey. Let me
Yes.
help take off your sweater before you have a seat in this booth. And it's still very
Yeah.
much like that. That's just
Yeah.
the kind
Yes.
of
Chivalry.
upbringing, that they had back then.
Yeah.
And
No,
I
I
love
agree.
it. Every time I see it, I'm just like, I hope that's us one day. I hope that we get to be at that point where we're still trying to take care of each other and we put each other first before everyone else. Like, I want that. I fucking want that.
Yeah.
I know. I do love it so much. All those videos make me cry, and I always send them to my husband, and I'm like, I want this to be us.
Yes,
and he's probably like, yeah, whatever. And I'm like, no, really.
too. I want
Love
it.
me forever.
You're stuck with me, you dick. Don't go.
Exactly.
I love you.
We're so intense about our love bee, and I love it. We're just like, you asshole, I love you.
I'm gonna bite you now. Arr.
Yeah, you two are biters, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Love it. Anywho, they get married.
Anyway, he doesn't propose there.
They get married in the garden.
No, he proposed. He proposes
Well,
in the garden.
I love that he asked all of their permissions.
I know. And they're getting each other ready. Like they're like, go take a shower. You stink. And she's like, I guess. I guess I stink. Okay.
I know.
Like, and she's like, but go use the good shampoo.
She's like, you're gonna have a night tonight, so clean all your bits.
If you have any questions, let me know.
That's a damn good friend. Addie.
No,
good looking.
I love that.
Well, your girl.
We kind of glazed over the fact. Oh God, Marisol's wife comes back.
Yes,
she hasn't come back yet.
The wedding? I thought it was before the wedding.
Yeah,
you not at the wedding.
I was talking proposal, but yes, the wedding does happen. But the siren happens before the wedding. So,
correct.
And that's when Keegan comes back. When like the big bad siren goes off.
I was so happy.
I know. I was nervous about that. I was like, I really don't want her wife to be hurt. I'm still scared for her because of the end. I'm like, what
happened?
I still don't know that she's getting out of this unscathed.
I know, but I love that she at least got to see the garden and that she still kept her that whole thing. I really loved their love story as well. Like side love story situation.
Yeah.
Loved that so much. And then didn't he even ask her permission? I feel like he asked
he asked everyone's permission.
She married them. I think Keegan's the one who actually married them, right?
And I thought that was very beautifully done. Very simplistic, but the verbiage that they used for it was like, I loved it a lot. It was very cute.
Yeah.
They said that it was like old vows. So I'm wondering if it's infused with magic.
I think so. And I think that's gonna come into play for sure in this next book. There's no way there wasn't a reason for that.
So like
I'm hoping that'll be the thing that breaks him of his
because I mean
eyes.
You know how you know how like after the wedding and they go upstairs and they have like they try to have like their little intimate moment or whatever. And then the next day they're like, do we have time? And I'm like, oh, to be young and in love, where you just think you can bang one out real quick between like a war happening and having to leave.
It wasn't even her. It was him. That was
I know.
Do we have time?
I was like typical 19-year-old. Do we
have a 19-year-old man?
Okay, don't even say a 19-year-old. You're not gonna act like all of our men wouldn't be like, But do we think we have time?
No, that's me. That's me.
I
I'm the one.
think
I'm
we
like,
could
let's
pin.
go.
Yeah, I was gonna say you're the
Yeah.
19-year-old boy in this scenario.
I'm like, babe, do we have time?
I
Like,
can
we're
picture
gonna
that
die
too
maybe.
well.
So
Let's,
can
The
we,
kids are gonna come back.
one last go.
They're outside right now. You want to?
Oh my God,
just
I'm
for
dead.
for old time's sake here, you know?
You
Oh my
gotta keep it
God.
spicy, you guys.
Yeah,
I
you gotta do
appreciate
that.
it.
You can't just do it on the
Um,
nighttime routine.
Stop it.
I
Oh my
know.
god. So this is when we see the missing, like the footprints in the house.
Mhm.
Yes.
The dash packs are gone, 2 of them,
Mm-hmm.
and then one of Roman's jumpsuits are missing.
Correct.
And I don't know why they weren't all more startled. They're like, oh yeah, it's just like a soldier that probably came through and grabbed it. I would have been, the 6 in me would have been like, we're gonna die. They're in the house right now. They're gonna get us.
I thought it was a ghost. I don't know why, but I was just like, there's
Ooh.
a ghost.
I thought it was Dacre, I think.
Yeah, I was gonna say I thought it was just someone on the other side, coming in and stealing things, but then it was working
Bad
up
was
to
gonna
something
happen.
bigger.
Something
Yeah,
on the other side was stealing something. And he's
well,
kind of
we're
like a
getting there.
ghost.
He's kind of,
I
yeah,
mean,
kind of.
I guess all of our guesses were kind of odd.
I don't know.
I mean, she found out right before that he was still alive, as far as the last
Yes.
person know. I thought it was really interesting that Keegan is the one who showed up with
The letter.
the letter for her.
Yeah. I'm just trying to
Just because
understand
she
you
knew
guys.
that she was there, and so she took it on her way or
Yeah.
whatever. But that's kind of wild.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Do you think she knows that Forrest deserted, or like is on the other side? Because she made that weird look at her when she said what her name was, which, you know, could have been just because she had the letter for her. But I wonder if she knows
I really
more.
thought it was just from knowing about
I think
the
it was just
letter.
from knowing that she had a letter that she needed to just
Yeah.
deliver. I think it was just a surprise to her that she was there. I don't think that she knew that she was
Mhm.
going to be at the
Well, especially still at that point.
Mhm.
Because, I mean, hadn't the sirens are like really, she should have evacuated already and she chose not to. So I feel like that was part of the surprise also, was just like, why are you guys still here? And they're like, we're doing good. We're here to help.
We're not abandoning the
She's like,
garden.
I got to get married in the middle of wartime. Let's
Mhm.
go.
Hey, we might as well, right?
Yep. Might as well.
But hey, I thought that it was, I was kind of getting, I don't know how I can like reference Harry Potter in almost every podcast that we do, but when Marisol was like,
Feels great.
this B&B is going to continue standing, like nothing's going to take it to the ground or whatever, I was like, oh, it's like Minerva in Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Minerva.
Minerva. McGonagall.
Yeah. No, I agree. It did have very much that vibe as well. She just believed that there's nothing bringing her house down, and I did like that a
Mhm.
lot.
Do you feel like the pattern of the houses that were hit by the bombs was significant? Because she said that she was like looking, so obviously I'm jumping a little bit ahead, but once the actual attack happens and they start bombing, there's like a pattern to the houses that are actually hit. Do you think that that's significant?
Probably.
I wasn't
so.
sure if Forrest had something to do with that, because he had already been
Like
coming
they're
in and
probably sympathizers with Dacre.
out. Well, he was working for Dacre at that point. Well, I guess he was kind of breaking free of that, but I don't know if he was sending back information to try and keep his sister safe before he could then grab her. I didn't know if he had more involvement in that than we realized, or if he had really separated sooner.
Mhm.
If that's the case,
Yeah,
if
it
he
sounded
separated
like he deserted
sooner,
after the trench.
Yeah, because wasn't like the fog or the gas that they used, wasn't that, didn't they kind of have like control over it where it would only go to certain parts, or was that just the wind, or was that just the bombs? I
I
don't
think
know.
it was just
wind,
based
but
off where they dropped it.
Okay. I was like, I
It was
thought
based off where they dropped it, and then the winds just happened to be like going the certain way. But I wonder, I feel like Dacre probably has some kind of
I'm sure the
control over
Ethrals
the
can
wind.
kind of, yeah. I would
Because
think
every
the
time he
Ethrals
comes
were just
in, like it gets really cold, Yeah, like
His
I
wings?
feel like they
Is that what you
wyvern.
I'm talking about the ethereals, just like, okay, now it needs to go this way, and now it needs to go this way.
But again,
I'm just
Enva,
saying,
she
like, I don't
controls the
know.
wind, right? Wasn't she on the wind? Like she like turned into the wind. Like one of the things
She did turn into the wind to leave him.
yeah. So
Yeah.
she also has control. I don't know.
I don't know.
The gas is green like Enva's eyes.
Okay, now we're getting real intense about
No,
it.
there's a
He says that.
connection.
Dacre says that.
Yes, there's
Dacre
a
says that
connection.
To her in the gas?
epilogue.
Yes.
Oh,
No, I'm
really?
agreeing with you.
Yeah,
No,
he like looks out at the
I know he
green mist and is like, "Oh, it's green like Enva's eyes that I
He still likes
see
her a lot.
sometimes at night."
Or she's
him
mad.
still
I don't
being a
know.
psycho.
He stalked her.
Yeah, like I just thought that was him being like, I'm just so in love with this woman. I see her in all things. Like that's more the vibe I got. I didn't picture her having any involvement in the gas. Personally.
No, I didn't either.
No, I don't think she
Not
was involved
involvement.
in the gas, but
Yeah, no, I just think he's a psycho.
what? No.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know why Veronica, you think there's something good to him. We'll see in this next book, but I have not gotten that vibe yet.
If Forrest has been working for him and thinks that he's the worst and is like, I've seen some horrible things, then
No, I think because he was
God.
originally what's it called? Recruited by Enva, that's probably why he thinks that already. But I still think that there's some good to him. I think there's some good to some Dacreness. I'm gonna make a shirt.
Maybe
okay,
read the
if you make a
second book
shirt, then you're gonna be
first?
like the girl.
I don't
with the
like
Tamlin
let's
tattoo.
not commit to the tattoo
don't get
yet.
a tattoo.
Don't do that. Don't be that
Tamlin
person.
tattoo kills me.
But I
Never
mean,
make a
like,
shirt
okay,
that
okay.
reader.
It could be like how Tamlin was, right? Everyone was in love with him, but really it was not him. He was not the guy.
Yeah, he also always kind of sucked, knowing that from someone who's reread it several times. He was kind of the worst the whole time.
No, but I didn't get that impression. When you read it, when you're a one-time reader, you don't get that impression that he's the worst.
I know.
But he's so controlling, even in that first book. Like, it gets worse, obviously, in the second one, but even towards the end of the first one, you're like, don't love that. As someone who really hates being controlled, I had picked up on that, I feel like, even in my first read, where I was like, don't love that, but maybe that's what she's into. Like, because some people like that. I don't know, teach their own.
Teach their own. It's fine.
When the guy is wailing next to Iris, when like
she's like, "Shut up!"
coming through,
shut up.
I got a little dark there, where I was like, "Shut him up! Do whatever you gotta do, girl."
Also went there and was like, "Is she gonna have to kill him?" And
Yeah.
I was like, "You got to do whatever you got to do to save the rest of the people." Like, this was the trolley. You either kill the one or you kill lots. I guess I'm pulling the lever. Like, truly, that's what it felt like
on
for
that
me.
one.
I agree.
Like, shut his ass up, man.
It's so funny.
I was not sure what I thought was going to happen with
I
that, but
I did too.
I feel like I have been waiting this entire time to rant.
Oh, here we go.
Slightly.
Okay.
Bring it.
About motherfucking Forrest.
Motherfucking Forrest. Oh. Mm-hmm.
I cannot with the way that he treated his sister through this entire last section of the book. I get that you've been through some shit, but first, you grabbed her really aggressively. I don't feel like that is how a brother would act in that situation. Pretty sure if you would have just shown her who you were, she would have been like, "Oh my god, yes, I will go with you because you're my brother and I've been searching for you this entire time." Also, my husband's right there. It might be against your will. Like, this might be hard for you, but he can just walk with us this whole time. You don't have to drag me away from him while you see him chasing us, and then, hurts himself doing that. So he's like army crawling through a freaking field to try to get to you. None of it made sense from the standpoint of a brother that cares about his sister and is trying to get her out. And it's so hard for him to break this command. Like, okay, then focus on her, but let him still, of his free will, come with you guys
Slow
and
down
be
for
with
2
you.
whole seconds and grab him in
5
both your arms.
He's right
5 feet
there.
away from you or whatever the hell. He's
I
right
know.
there. And she literally says, "That's my husband."
And he said,
And
That
he
right there,
saw
I
the
thought would
wedding.
stop him.
he watched
He
it.
admitted to seeing their wedding. So
Mhm.
he already knew that was her fucking husband. Oh, yeah.
Wait,
agreed.
I
That was very
see.
needed.
I don't know if he saw the wedding or if he just saw them making out. I got the impression that he saw them make out
that's
and not the
right.
wedding.
You're right.
But he could have seen
I
both.
think going to-
Because
But
she was like, "Oh
still,
God, he saw me
clearly
kissing.
that
That's
is
weird."
the love of her life, sir. She's gonna
Mhm.
want him to come too.
Yeah. Even
But also,
after
why did he
realizing
need a
who
fucking
you
mask?
are.
He could have given that to hide his face because he didn't need it. He's
'Cause
already
he was acting like he was Roman.
right. Like he didn't need it. His wounds just keep reopening. Can he die again?
You think he's dead?
Yes, I think he's like a zombie-ish person.
Oh, you think he's like zombie? You think he's a zombie, like a
like
reanimated zombie?
like reanimated, like he brought life back to him, but like his soul is not his own, and that's why his wounds can't heal because they're old
But
wounds.
he
I did
only
not
does
pick
it for
up on that.
them. He does it for them before they die. But I think the more you fight your command, I think you're still living,
Mhm.
but the more you fight your command, your original
things
killing
reopen.
wounds will slowly start like happening again. So like for Roman,
Mhm.
he'll probably go back to choking on blood because they talk about how when Dacre walks up to him, he says like his lungs are full of blood and that he's 13 seconds away from dying. But he has to save him before he's actually dead. And then what was that?
We've gone from freaking enemies to lovers to freaking forbidden love, and I'm annoyed. That was me just having that revelation. That was me going, like, my loading bar finished loading, and I was just like, God damn it.
Oh my God, that startled me. I was like, what happened?
No, it was literally just my loading bar finished, and I was just like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, and then I was shook. That's all.
She was shook. Hard.
No, that's okay. I was just
you should watch
in
this
my
video
rant.
back
It's
and
fine.
watch how intense I am staring off into the distance processing. Because I was very much staring off into space processing and then having that revelation. You can probably see it. You could see the loading bar.
I love it.
We're
love it.
put a loading bar in your forehead.
Oh
my
sorry.
God.
So sorry to interrupt.
But yeah,
no,
you're right.
it's fine. I love it. I mean, I was ranting just because this has been freaking bothering me.
No,
so
I agree. Because he almost like chokes her out at one point. Like he like grabs
she
her.
literally continues to fight him. Even after knowing that it's the one person that she wanted to see more than like anyone in the world. And then like obviously if she's still fighting you after knowing it's you, he's 20 feet away. He's 20 feet away. I can't.
It was so sad. It was so devastating. Like imagining him tearing up his skin in the sharp grass as he's like crawling, trying to like desperate to reach for her. And she's just right there. And her brother's just dragging her away. And she's like, no, let me go back. Please. Like, I won't run away. Just let me get him. And just like,
I know.
Just my heart.
Especially because Forrest essentially knows what he's damning him to. Because he felt very confident that he would not be there when he got back.
Oh, and he knows what that circle meant.
Yes,
100%.
He knows what happens in all of these towns after they take them. So he knew what he was damning her husband to.
I hate Forrest.
Yes.
I hate him.
I know. I really don't have great feelings about Forrest.
Forrest is giving Dane vibes.
Don't love it.
I agree. I do agree with that.
Big Dane vibes.
I did find it interesting that was it the remnants of their soul either gave off fire or ice?
Yeah.
Isn't that what Dacre was saying?
Yeah.
So
he usually does ice, but every once in a while fire like works for him or whatever he said.
Yeah. I'm curious to see how that comes into play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's significant or it wouldn't have been mentioned.
Agreed.
Yeah. And the fact that he's super excited that he has a war correspondent. One, I think that's because they're neutral in this war. So he's going to be able to send him anywhere on either side and have him act as a neutral party when really he's probably going to go and F stuff up.
Yes.
I
Agreed.
just thought he just wanted
Mhm.
someone to write his side of the story.
No, I think he's gonna be play spy.
Yeah, and
So
then relay
stupid.
information back.
I-
Mhm.
I'm gonna be honest. V also thought that initially. I was like, "Oh, he just wants him to write
He's
stuff?
like, "I just
That's
want my side to
weird."
be told."
He's like, people are
Of
going to
of
hear
course,
me.
V thinks that. She just wants his story to be told because she still thinks he's gonna be good.
Girl, I will be shook.
You
We
call
should place a
me.
bet.
You call me.
If he ends up being good, I will freaking do something because for
Yeah,
real, I will be shook if
same.
he ends up being remotely good.
Okay. As soon
I
as
just don't see it.
But I do still stand with I don't think the Enva's gonna be good either. So I kind of think the
I can
both are
see
bad.
that. I don't necessarily think either one is good, but I
But I
will
do
be
not think he's good.
no. No. My world will be rocked. I will be calling you and being like, "How the hell did you figure that out?"
Especially because like they were like celebrating after they took the town and killed all those people. They're like celebrating and
Yeah.
joyous and
It was
music and
icky.
all that.
And then even throughout the book, there was a lot of little moments where Roman was kind of disgusted with the thought of even being a Dacre sympathizer or
Mhm.
being a like there were just too many
Mhm.
moments between both him and Iris where they were almost appalled by that
Mhm.
idea. And I was just like, I felt like that was too telling. And again, I don't necessarily think she's going to be good. I do think Iris is going to somehow get involved with her.
Mhm.
I'm
It
telling
just
you.
makes sense.
It's because it's
Divine rivals,
how the
come
narrative is
on.
being written, you guys. If all you have is
100%.
Emba sympathizers writing the news tribunes and stuff like that, that's all you're
I
going to
mean,
get. You only get one side of the story and you only get what they want you to say.
still.
And now we got Dacre's side of the story because Roman's going to write it and it's going to be like, he's not the bad guy, you guys. He's not the bad
I
guy.
literally can't.
Emma
Yeah, but
played
he's
with his
Oh,
also,
feelings.
holding his soul hostage, so can't really be a great person.
I mean, he
I was
kind of
gonna say, I
saved
don't
them
know
also
that
at the same time. He was going to die. I am sticking to
to
this, you guys.
use them as minions.
Yes.
I have a twitch. I'm
I was gonna say,
twitching.
I think Kayla and I are actually hurting at this point. We're just like, no, literally no.
I
We have
can't.
no faith in this man whatsoever.
It's
He is bad. We think he is
fine.
bad.
Just let me
Yeah,
live my
big bad.
little. He could be good. There's good in somebody. You're like, no,
I'm not really
Veronica.
getting that from him. I'm
No.
really not getting that from the stalker, psycho, killer,
We'll see.
zombifying weirdo. I just nothing about that
Mhm.
sounds good.
Nope.
So do you guys want to rate this book? What were your thoughts? I know obviously it took a little bit for you guys to get into it, but do you have any strong feelings about ratings? I wouldn't even really necessarily rate the spice because I don't know that I would classify
I
their
liked that little spicy scene, you guys.
yeah, but it wasn't spicy.
That was
Mm.
closed door. That was
Yeah, that
closed door spice.
very YA feeling spice, quite frankly, in my opinion.
I don't remember what happened anymore, but I thought I was very like,
Because it didn't really
It's like it was kind of fade to black
fade to
situation.
yes,
black,
there's a
yeah.
fade to black. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I saw some things,
You
but yes,
saw
it
a
was
lead up of them removing clothes
yeah.
and then
So fade to black is more appropriate.
dark.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Some like
Yes.
moany, uncomfortable. I did like that they talked about it being uncomfortable for a second because it was their first time. So I was like,
I was gonna
good
say
on you,
no,
being
he
realistic.
did put it in. Like it wasn't like really said like that, but yeah, because they did.
V, your face, you nasty.
I'm fine. You
The
guys.
second she said that, you were like, oh,
Oh, he put it
tell
in,
me
huh?
more.
What? Tell me more. Yeah, because they did make reference to it being uncomfortable, but then I felt like after that it was very like they like went to
It's
sleep.
so
Like they
sweet.
didn't. It wasn't a long time. It was
No,
yes,
this
it
is
was
very
very
sweet.
teenage first time.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
first love. Oh,
But that's why I'm saying I wouldn't necessarily consider that spicy.
okay.
It was
I
No.
will go
sweet.
first and give it my rating. I will give it
Okay.
a 4. Only because it was a good book. I enjoyed the story. I enjoyed the
Mhm.
idea of it. I love that I could feel for it for like the leaving notes a little bit, so that it
Mhm.
touched me in that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that I was still like, how like you get into those like not reading funks,
Mhm.
A slump.
slump, right? Like this would not be the book to get me through a
Yeah.
slump. Like I had to
Yeah.
push through to get this done.
Yeah.
But because of that, and because it's not typically something that I would go to, it was still a 4. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. But my
Mm-hmm.
favorite quote in this whole thing, I wrote it down. I
Mm-hmm.
wrote it down.
Mhm.
Let's see here. Let me find it. They're not even my sisters by blood, but I chose them, and that sort of love is everlasting. I'm like,
Of course,
No.
that was your favorite quote.
I love
Stop
it.
it. Don't make me cry.
I love that.
That was my favorite quote. So, okay.
Of course. Okay, how am I supposed to follow that? There you go. Frick. I need a minute.
I can't.
I'm trying not to cry.
Oh my god. I would give it a 4. I enjoyed it. Like it kept me entertained. I thought it was very unique. I usually like a little more heavy-handed fantasy in general, and I wouldn't necessarily my like 5-star reads are ones that like I know I will read again. Like
Yeah.
I'm a rereader, we all know that. This is a great book, but I don't know that I would necessarily like reach for it to read again, but I really like I did enjoy it. So, I'll give it
Yeah,
a
I
solid
can
4.
see that.
And yeah, 1 jalapeno.
I was
One
half a
spicy
jalapeno.
jalapeno, because yeah, that was like a fade to black situation. But
Mhm.
Yeah.
I liked it. I did.
Yeah. No, I think I'm right on board with you guys. I felt there was definitely moments I could put it down, and like that alone tells me it's
Mm-hmm.
not a 5 for me at least. But yeah, I think it was just a hard one. We really knocked it out of the park with the last one. So part of it
Mm-hmm.
was you were just at a disadvantage from following such a intense fantasy and just really well
Mm-hmm.
written book overall. So I think I struggled to get into it just because of that. Following
Mm-hmm.
that writing style was very different. Still very good, but different. Loved the love story, thought that was very
Mm-hmm.
sweet, enjoyed how that was done. I know Kayla and I had talked about how we both kind of struggled with, okay, you introduce these gods, but really they felt so side charactery to the
Mhm.
whole thing, when really that's why like that's why there's so much going on. So to not see
Mm-hmm.
them very much in this book, I struggled with. And again, I
Mm-hmm.
think I'm hopeful that we'll see more of that in book 2, and I'll feel differently come book 2. But yeah, I'd give it a 4. I enjoyed reading it. Probably wouldn't read it again, but enjoyed it as it once through. And yeah, girl, I wouldn't even give it 1 jalapeno. It was like half a jalapeno. Like we had one. Eh, girl, I just after the last one, it was
No!
sweet. I am not discrediting. I
It's
think it
a
was sweet. Yes.
jalapeno. No. It's
Why? Because
okay.
they had
Didn't
sex?
I
Like,
give the last one a 3 jalapeno?
I think I gave it a 4 because I said quality
You
over
gave
I
it a
was gonna
4
say,
for
you
quantity.
really,
quality.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I
And
thought it
like,
was a 1 at least.
I
That's
mean, I guess a 1 is if they
There
had
is
sex.
one
They
scene.
had one sex scene of this whole book. There was one very, again, I mean, YA even has sex. Don't get me wrong. Felt very YA sex scene. There was no passion, spice, anything to that. It was very sweet, like
Intimate,
first
like,
moment,
yeah.
that's
intimate.
how I imagined
But
the 1900s,
but
you
I
guys.
feel like when I think of jalapenos, I think of spice, and that is not
Yes!
spice to
That's
me.
Give me my spicy
Where's
jalapeno.
the spice? I want to burn a little. There was no burning. I was like, oh, that's endearing.
Dawn had her
That's cute.
burning Veronica. We had her
You can't have me
burning.
follow Con and go into this and be like, yeah, this is spicy too. I'm like, that's cute.
She
You
gives him a
did
little
it.
doo-doo on the head. Good job, guys.
Good job, guys. You did it.
Proud of
Yay.
you.
You put it in.
Yeah, you stuck it in, bud.
You Stop it.
Bravo.
Oh my god.
Kayla's gonna throw up over
It's
here.
getting a little hot. It's fine.
You have a
Freaking fan. Okay, Grandma. Get out of here.
Oh my god, I need a fan now, though. Oh my God, guys. But yeah, so that's where I'm coming from. When I think of spice, and I think the way a lot of people rank spice on the internet is they're expecting some serious shit to go down. I feel
4
like
is like
spice
people
meats.
even have like ratings for it. 4 is like multiple times. 5 is like it
The
took
whole
over
book.
the plot and there is no plot left situation.
Yeah.
4 is
So
like it's
that's
a main part of the plot, very
Oh.
spicy.
and I know
3
you're
is
doing
like
it on quantity, and I
a
get that yours is
few.
different. But
It's not quality based. It's mostly quantity based.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's lame. I thought it was supposed to be like, how good was it? Like, was this a good scene or not? Like, did they get to all the things? Did they get to all the bases? Okay, that's what I was
Mm-mm.
thinking.
I
Like,
mean, he
first
did get to all the
base.
bases, so if that's
No,
how we're ranking
jalapenos
it,
are usually the
Oh,
amount of
see,
spice
I gotta
in
like
the
do
book.
my
and
research.
even just the type of spice, I think, because some people
Mhm.
into some real wild spicy type situations. And like I said, this is very first
Aw.
time we did it, sweet. We just got married,
That's very sweet.
young love type of. I'm not discrediting it. I still enjoyed reading it. I just can't give it jalapenos.
Con,
You
you
know, like
fucked
that's
it up for everybody.
This was not the Wicked Sisters, okay? This was not Zodiac Academy and Dark Fae
even
and Dark
the last one,
Penitentiary.
like even the last one, even though I gave
That's
it, I can't
5.
remember. I think I
We
gave it
lost
at
the
least.
plot.
Yeah, we lost the plot for sure on that one.
In Darkmoor, we lost the plot.
We don't-
Okay,
It just
it's
awesome.
gone.
That's just a straight porn
Because
book.
what did I give Con? 3? I think I gave him
I
3
think I
for
gave him
quality.
Yeah, I was
three.
the only one that gave it a
Because there
4.
really
Quality.
is only like a handful of scenes, like
Yes,
one
but I
like
gave it.
big scene, but like a few
was a good
alluding
one.
to or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I feel like the next one might be more like a 4.
Nah,
The next book or Ruthless Vows? You think that's gonna be a 4? Oh, you
No,
mean
not this.
the
Or-
next
Oh,
when the moon hatched? Okay, I was like,
Look at us.
Ruthless. We are
can't
not
move
getting
on,
a
guys.
4 in Ruthless Vows. There's no way.
No. We'll be lucky if
We
it's a
really
1.
changed the book at that point. Yes, agreed.
I think she purposely is keeping it a certain like
Correct.
a clean romance, you know.
I don't think there's gonna be any.
But I
sex
love
in
that we can't
book.
move on from When the Moon Hatched because we're still talking.
It's good. If a good,
But
if it's
Different
good, it's
podcast,
good.
same topic.
You just gotta watch it.
Very
Wow.
excited
Because-
for that book. Let me
So good.
tell you.
Very excited. All right, well, that is it for today. We hope you guys enjoyed reading Divine Rivals with us. We will be releasing the next podcast episode covering book 2, which is Ruthless Vows, 2 weeks from today on April 26th. Also, if you like what you hear, then please share it with your friends. You can find us on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, all the major streaming platforms. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Bye. Bye.